I want to welcome you guys to another episode of The Jar. It's been a while, but I'm back. You guys know what it is. A sports podcast, opinionated factual podcast that brings you all of that. Facts, opinions, personal opinions. You guys decide if you like it, decide if you hate it, or if you want to steal it. Regardless, I'm back. And you know why I'm back. It's the NFL season, baby. It's here. And it feel like it's been a long time too. Like, I've literally had tons of people, including myself, feel like this has been the longest season we've had to wait for. Now, I think it's because in the sense we're used to in the summer, you know, you got the tennis, regular tennis, US Open, things of that nature. You got baseball season, a drag. So it's kind of like our patience builds up, and then, you know, we're kind of like, okay, we know it's coming. But this year we had the Olympics. We had some good sports playing basketball, pretty much all sports around the Olympics if you watched them. And I think that built up anticipation for the NFL season, especially with last year having so many injuries that are uncommon. Yeah, NFL has injuries, but this one was kind of rare. I mean, quarterback after quarterback, running backs, you name it, they were out. But it's here, and it's here tomorrow. We get a goodie. Last year was a little, you know, if you want to say mid, some people use the word mid, then you could say that, but it was a good game. You saw Detroit and Kansas City last year in the opening game, and basically you saw that explosive offense of Detroit come out, and they actually beat Kansas City on their first game. As you all know, last year was a tough year for Kansas City. Receivers dropping passes, Mahomes not looking like himself, Travis Kelce looking older or longer in the tooth. But it didn't matter. When it came time to prevail, that's what they did. Went through the playoffs. Defense stepped up. They didn't rely on Mahomes, and all Mahomes had to do was a little bit of Mahomes magic. And once again, the Kansas City Chiefs reign supreme. So fast forward to tomorrow, and you have that rematch, that playoff rematch, where a lot of people felt like Baltimore was the best team in the NFL, the best team in the NFL. And for some reason, once again, Lamar did not get over the hump. Now, he had some help from a receiver fumbling the ball, but he did also throw a pass into triple coverage. I just think he went out of his game. I think he turned into a pass-first quarterback, and he can pass, don't get it twisted, but he didn't use all his tools. Lamar's a dynamic quarterback. He's not a pass-first quarterback. He's a dynamic quarterback. I say dynamic, why? Because there's more things to him just passing. If his passing isn't accurate, he can run. If his running isn't good, he's getting stopped, he can pass. And more importantly, he can always keep the play alive with his legs if he's not running. That's the difference. Pat is Pat. He's magic. He can do everything. He thinks the game out. He's always ahead of everybody. He can make every throw. That's what separates him from the best of the best. That's what makes him the best of the best, where people almost say he is the best to ever do it. Not yet, but the best to ever do it. So I would say this. Going into the game tomorrow, Baltimore has to decide, how do you want to play? Do you want to be the number one rushing offense in the league like you have been pretty much anytime Lamar is healthy, with the new addition of Big Derrick Henry? Do you want to be that team? Because here's the thing. Lamar, for the most part, he beats everybody. I mean, his record is pretty much good against everybody else, except for that one guy. So I think tomorrow game, I wouldn't put too much stock in that game, because as we can see from last year, Kansas City didn't look good and they still won. Baltimore was the best and they still lost. But the stock that I would say you can put in it, as far as the Baltimore Ravens go, is saying we finally got a win. Yeah, it's not going to determine nothing throughout the season because you have injuries, you have teams getting better, you have Kansas City, of course, figuring it out. But more importantly, to win a game against them is great, because now you say this worked. That's one thing when you beat a good team or a good player. You can say we finally won and this actually worked. When you're always losing, you start to go to the drawing board and say, okay, let's try this, let's try that, let's try this, let's try that. And it still doesn't work. That leaves you kind of puzzled. You start to fire offense coordinators, defense coordinators, even coaches. But when you get that win against that one team or that one player, the one thing you can draw up and say, if you guys play again, or if you meet up again in the playoffs, me saying if Baltimore meets up again with Kansas City in the playoffs, if they get a win tomorrow, they can say, finally, this worked. Not, what do we do now? Because coaches always have ideas, But the most important idea you can have is an idea that worked. And if they can get that, now Kansas City may look at it like, oh, that's a loss, but we're Kansas City. But Baltimore can look at it and says, finally, something worked. And they could go off that. That's going to be important for them. Losing again, now, it doesn't mean nothing. Again, it's the NFL, it's injuries. But I think just for a mental perspective of the team, not just Lamar, the team, coaching especially, they can say, we got them, and this is the way we got them. So if they meet up again, they know they got a chance because they beat them before. So I expect it to be an awesome game, explosive game, a lot of points. Now, it could be a little rusty too, because as we know, quarterbacks, running backs, they don't play in the preseason as much. Yes, Pat did play. I can't particularly remember if Lamar played a lot or played at all, which I don't think he did. And they could come out a little rusty. But I'll tell you what doesn't get rusty, a running game. And Baltimore has that with Lamar and Derrick Henry. Your passing may not be the best, but you're running. You can't impersonate a run. You can't not know how to run. And Lamar's lost weight, so he may be even faster and more electric than he was prior. That's scary. Now, it could be a little more injury worthy of things happening because he's smaller, taking the hits, taking the falls, things of that nature, but let's not even put that on him. Let's just look for him to be dynamic, the quarterback we want him to be, because I think a lot of people feel like, hey, man, it's your time. A lot of people. And as much as we love Patrick Mahomes, we always like to see the underdog come through, right? And who better than Lamar Jackson? Because at first it was Michael Vick. We thought it was RG3. A lot of people love Donovan McNabb. That would be me. So the underdog should prevail this time, because in essence, he's not even an underdog. He's two-time MVP, but compared to Patrick Mahomes, he is. So I think you got a lot of people rooting for Lamar for himself and just to take the king off the heel, just to make it competitive. It is what it is. So I expect an explosive game. I expect them to come out running the ball right away, seeing what Derrick Henry can provide, opening up that passing. Mark Andrews was hurt last year. We do forget, so he's going to be fully healthy this year against them. Now, Kansas City is no slouch either. You get a healthy Patrick Mahomes. You get a healthy Travis Kelce. Even though he's older, you get a speedster rookie, Xavier Worthy. He's dynamic. They can't game plan for him because they don't have any film on him. Only thing they can do is look at college and look at speed. But you don't know how good his routes are going to be because you haven't seen them. You can't practice what you can't see. You can't watch video on what you don't know. So that could be the thing that hurts them. Not sure, but we'll see. Either way, I look for some fireworks. Can't wait to see how that goes. I'll be watching it just like you guys.
Real quick, you guys, I want to thank you guys for continuing to watch The Jar. If you do love the content that I'm putting out, please hit that subscribe button. Smash that subscribe button. Tell your friends, your family, anybody that you can think of that loves to hear about sports, especially the sports going on now, whether it's NBA, NFL, who knows what topics we'll get into. It depends on the biggest things happening right then and now. I'll provide you guys the best opinionated information, the best factual information that I can think of, because again, we're viewers. We all have our opinions, and that's what I'm here for. Thank you guys again.
We also have, and oh man, we have a great week coming up. We also have a Friday's game. We don't usually get spoiled like that, but hey, if you're going to give it to us, we're going to take it. So we have a great Friday game. And this, in my opinion, might be the best game of the two games before the football Sunday kicks off. And you're looking at the actual Philadelphia Eagles and the young and hungry Green Bay Packers. Now, as you know, Green Bay upset Dallas last year. Jordan Love came along. I was one of the people that was a little nervous about him, but at times he looked like Aaron Rodgers. Precision passing, throwing no touch, no interceptions. I mean, he looked like he had been in that offense for years. Technically he has, but not just sitting back with a tablet, actually playing. Those rookies, Christian Watson and the rest, they looked amazing. They were catching passes. Everybody's fast. The defense was flying around. Aaron Jones is gone, but they got Josh Jacobs. He's a better, in my opinion, running back than Aaron Jones. I don't know how he will go with their system because they had Dillon for that, and I think they wanted a running back who can do both things. catch the ball and run the ball. Every down back in a sense. Aaron Jones was great for him because he can catch the ball out the backfield. He can run a little bit. And then when they wanted to pound the rock, they gave it to Dillon. I don't know how it's going to go down with Josh Jacobs. I just know 2 years ago he was the league leading rusher. So if he's healthy, and he has a lot of issues with that throughout the season, if he's healthy, he could bring a lot to that offense, which just like I spoke on a second ago with Derrick Henry, he could open that passing up that Jordan Love does so well. And this team could really be a force to be reckoned with. We'll see. And then you have the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles are coming from a horrible season where they looked good, but a lot of people felt like it was not real, almost like you're seeing a mirage. So they started off, I think they were like 6 or 7-0, but it just looked like they were kind of skating through and luckily winning some games. And it didn't look like that team that went to the Super Bowl the prior year where they led the league in sacks. They set a season record of sacks. Hassan Reddick was coming off. I mean, you got people that's gone now. Fletcher Cox is gone. So you got players that are retired. You got older players, and Brandon Graham coming back, but he's still a little longer in the tooth. You did add, might I say, a top 3 when he's healthy running back. I don't know what the hell the New York Giants were doing letting go of Saquon Barkley, and then you let him go to the same division. I mean, he's in the same division, so I don't know what the hell they were doing. I mean, if you're just trying to get out of the coaching, if you want to fire the coach, you mess up with Daniel Jones, I mean, just say that. You're going to actually let your best player, because he's not the best running back on the Giants team, if you guys remember. He was their best player. And you're going to let him walk and go to a division opponent? So now he's going to be more amped up when he plays you guys. And then he said he didn't even want to leave. I don't know how true that was because, I don't know, he knew they weren't going to win. But, you can't help it. Sometimes, you love the New York Lights. You love the place. Great city. I love it. He probably didn't want to leave. But in essence, him leaving because he wasn't getting paid and you decided to pay the quarterback, Daniel Jones, which, Blake Bortles, number 2, that can run. It's terrible. And I think Blake Bortles is probably better than him. Because even when Blake Bortles had a defense, his team was treacherous at times. But Daniel Jones can have a defense, offense. He's not good. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. I don't think they know what they're doing. In essence, that's why they probably let Saquon go to wherever he wanted to go to. And when it's time to play the Giants, they better watch out. So let's get back to the Eagles. So they add that acquisition of Saquon Barkley with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. This offense should be explosive. I mean, explosive. They were already trying to find themselves, and when they had DeAndre Swift, who is a pretty good running back, might I add, but he isn't Saquon Barkley. You have to call a spade for what it is. And a healthy Saquon Barkley, if he can lead a team like he did the Giants, when you had a subpar quarterback, a no-name quarterback, you pretty much got your quarterback paid. If you can do that with a almost slight MVP quarterback 2 years ago, a Super Bowl caliber quarterback who really was one fumble away from winning the Super Bowl with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, you got a big chance. The defense is going to be key. Can those guys get back to what they was? Hassan Reddick is gone. But if the offense could maintain and keep the defense off the field, they still may have a chance. They have a pretty good defense still left over there. With Carter getting a second year coming from Georgia, he's on his second year in. He was already tearing everything up when he was out there for his rookie season. So he has another year under his belt to get stronger, smarter, whatever the case may be. They got a real good chance. So I really think the best game may be the Eagles in Green Bay. And the Packers, rather. Look forward to that game. And I would say this. I don't really like picking winners this soon. It's a little early in the season. I mean, you know how it goes. I mean, everybody wants to have their picks. And for me, I like to slow it down and at least wait to that Sunday. And I know a lot of people are picking their teams for tomorrow. But you really don't know. Like I can say, hey, this team is going to win. But that doesn't mean nothing. Like to me, these first days don't mean anything. But for the sake of having fun, for the sake of giving my opinion, because that's what this podcast is all about, I feel like this. First game, Thursday, Baltimore Chiefs. I believe in Baltimore. Lamar scares me at times, but not in the season. I believe in Lamar. And I think Baltimore is going to win that game. I think everybody's healthy. I think they have a better running game than they've had ever, and they were already leading the league in rushing. The passing is better. Mark Andrews is healthy. Key. And as good as I think Patrick Mahomes is, as great as I think he is, I don't know if they're going to be able to be as explosive as I believe Baltimore can actually be with the passing and the running. And key, keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. So they have a lot of things that can work for them in Baltimore. You get your running game going, you keep Pat off the field, and you play smash mouth football on the defensive side. And Kansas City may not even get a chance to come out there and show what they're worth on that first game. So that's my pick. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens. Book it. Second game on Friday, we got the Green Bay Packers, as I spoke on, and we got the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a tricky game. I want to say that Philly really should wipe them out. Why? They played so bad towards the end of the season? We don't even know. So it's hard to pick. And Green Bay looked so good towards the end. So they were in reverse roles. Green Bay looked a little scary, a little iffy at the beginning of the season last year. Then they came on strong. I think they won like 5 or 6 straight, something like that. Don't quote me on it. I don't have the paperwork in front of me. They were damn good. Philadelphia Eagles, they looked terrible. They lost in the first game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They lost to a team that they really should have blown out. But that just shows you how the directions can go in NFL. You can get hot and you can get cold as ice. And these two teams going into the playoffs from last year, they were on opposite paths, and it led to one team winning in the first playoff game and the other team not. So tomorrow, it's tough to pick because Green Bay has a lot of young talent, but they play good together. I just don't know if that talent is going to be as good as the requisite weapons on the Philadelphia Eagles, that being AJ and Devontae. And, of course, Saquon Barkley. The key is Jalen Hurts. Is he going to be accurate on passing this year? Because last year he was absolutely terrible. They don't have their center anymore, and Kelsey, he's gone. So I don't know. It's going to be tricky, but I'll tell you what. Again, for the sake of opinions, I'll go with the Philadelphia Eagles. And the reason I'm going to go with them is because I believe in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith over Christian Watson and the crew. Again, I could be wrong. It's only the first game, but that's my picks. So I look forward to these first 2 games. We got a good week of football on Sunday. A lot of good teams, a lot of good competition, including that Monday game, and I'm going to get to it for you guys. But I just want to give you guys the first action back of the JAR podcast, let you guys know I'm here to stay for a while. Couldn't wait, was thirsty, whatever you want to call it, but we're back. Until then, I want to thank you guys for watching the JAR. I'll see you soon.